had 16 total bases, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs, and a double. And his OBP was, I think, close to 500. The Cy Young, of course, is going to go to Luis Castillo. 6 innings pitched, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and a home run. He's just continuing to be an ace in the making. And then Gold Glove's going to go to Jose Iglesias. Obviously, as well, pretty self-explanatory. Always plays great defense. Last night he had that fantastic diving play at shortstop. Kind of play up the 5.5 hole. Kind of went a little bit into the outfield. Dove out, caught it. Stood up, fired to first, bounced it. Votto had a nice pick at first and got the runner. It was Tim Federowicz, I believe, the former Cincinnati Red, that hit that ball. But obviously he's a catcher, so he doesn't run well. And then the reliever of the week was Michael Lorenzen. He pitched 2 2/3 innings, gave up a hit, a run, did not walk a batter, and gave up and struck out 4 batters. Next, I'm going to talk about. That's basically it for that part. Next, I'm going to talk about my thoughts. I'd give the team a C. Wasn't a bad week. We went 2-3. It wasn't a good week. It wasn't a bad week. It was another just 50-50, you know? And I mean, at this rate, you would love for this team to get on just a hot streak, you know, like 10 games where they just win like 8 of the 10, you know, and that could kind of catapult us like right back into the thick of things, you know, right in the middle of the National League, you know? But that's all going to depend on the offense. If the offense doesn't start showing up, we're not going to be, you know, as good as we think. So DeSclafani stayed hot, and so did Luis, which was really, really nice to see, especially DeSclafani and Castillo after those couple rough starts. Now he's had quite a few, has had 3 good starts in a row, I think, so he's back to normal. We had a good comeback W against the Phillies, which was really nice to see. Those are always nice. And then Roark had his second tough start in a row, but that's all right. You know, as long as he keeps us in the ball game, I think we'll be fine. You know, it'd be a lot more effective too if we could score some runs. You know, as long as he keep. But Gray pitched a lot better than the numbers showed. He had some bad defense behind him. He really did. And then Derek Dietrich has really cooled off, as well as Suarez. And Nick Senzel and Joey Votto are both just red hot. I mean, those two, you know, that's a Senzel at the 1 spot, leadoff spot, Votto with the 2. Those two can just like get on base a ton, put some pop. And then we have Suarez coming up, who could, hopefully he can get hot. That's 3 hot hitters right there. Then get a couple other guys, you know, that's 5 good, you know, and then a guy has a good night. I mean, that's 6 out of 8. It's just, this offense needs to gel. Like, that's what this season relies on. It's this offense needs to gel. Once the offense kind of kicks into gear, it's gonna be a nasty team. But, I mean, at this rate, I don't even know if it's going to happen, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, I'd give the team a C, 50-50, you know, average grade. Next, I'm going to talk about the update on Scooter Gennett and Alex Wood and their Gennett is close to being back. He's probably going to start a rehab assignment on Monday down in the minor leagues, hopefully. That's the goal. He got down to Arizona, and he's been playing some simulated games. And then the goal is for him to play back-to-back games and not be sore the next day. He has been down in Arizona for a week playing in simulated games at the complex. And then, so, I mean, hopefully, you know, if you remember last year when the offense was scuffling a little bit, he was always the guy. Like, you remember on opening day last year when we played Max Scherzer in the Nationals? He was the guy who went out and got hits, you know, made a really, really bad performance by our offense look average or decent, you know, and he's just a fun guy to have around. And I think long-term we should look at this and say, look at what happens when, you know, Scooter Gennett's not in the lineup, you know. This is why we need to re-sign him, you know. This is what the offense could become if he's not around next year or years to come. we should look to re-sign him. I mean, right here, this may be a blessing in disguise. This injury that happened to Scooter Gennett, it could save us a lot of heartbreak in the next few years. Um, Alex Wood has started throwing bullpen sessions. He's supposed to start throwing simulated games in Arizona very, very soon. Then he would go on a rehab assignment, and I'm no doctor. I don't know the inside scoop, but what I would say is I would expect him back on the Reds sometime in late June, but most likely early July would be what I would say. Uh, and then just a little side note: Robert Stevenson has thrown two rehab innings in AAA, and he should be activated any day now. I'd say within the next few days, probably, but we'll see. A rehab assignment's probably almost up. Um, yeah. Next, we're going to talk about what the Reds will do at the deadline. And honestly, I mean, it's up in the air right now. Dick Williams made a couple comments about it throughout the week. Really just depends on the record. The only people that I possibly see getting dealt are Puig, Roark, and Hernandez. But then again, I mean, the way that Puig has been playing, I don't really see us getting much for him. Roark's just a good guy to have in there, veteran. And honestly, I mean, I would be down for re-signing Roark to a cheap, couple year, 2-3 year deal. Have him around here for a little bit longer. And then Hernandez, I don't really see getting dealt. I see the Reds not really dealing that much at the deadline. I see them kind of staying pat. Just because we don't want to deplete the farm system, but we also don't want to, this to be another 72 win season, or a low 70s. We want to be up in the high 70s, low 80s at the very minimum. And the only way that's possibly going to happen is if we keep a lot of these guys around. I don't see the Reds going out, getting rid of all these people. But I mean, the Reds have been in talks with the Phillies, according to a couple of sources. These sources, I don't know if they're reliable. I haven't really heard of them before, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, the Phillies have been inquiring about Puig because McCutchen tore his ACL, so they kind of need some outfield help. And the Reds have a lot of outfield depth in the minors, so if that were to happen, I could see something like that happening. There's a few guys in the Phillies minor league system that look like they could help the Reds tremendously. I mean, honestly though, like today, Phillip Ervin got called up, so I mean, I would be down for him taking Yasiel Puig's spot. I mean, sure, Puig does do a lot of things good, but so does Ervin. And I mean, Ervin's been mashing the ball. He's batting .290 down in AAA. Over his last 10 games, he's batting .380, and he actually just got called up an hour ago, actually. And Wandy Peralta got put on the 10-day IL with a hip strain, I believe it was. But yeah, I mean, you can even go back and look during spring training. I put something on my fan page. It's at Reds Bat Flip about how Phillip Ervin should be in the minor league or should be in the major leagues right now. I mean, the dude is just produced. You remember last year in the majors he produced, and it's just like every year, it's just like they always find a way to get him out. It just seems like every year he's just not in the major leagues, and I feel bad for the guy, But I mean, obviously, if the right offer came up for Puig or Roark or Hernandez, then you got to jump on that. It ain't. I'd say the rebuild is. I'd say this is the last year of the rebuild, but I'd say they're kind of like, imagine like a roller coaster. You go up, you hit the climax, and then you kind of go down. I'd say we're on the down right now, of the rebuild. We're getting ready to kind of get off the ride and get on the big boy ride. So yeah, I think Hernandez is not going to be dealt though. Neither is Roark. I'd say the most likely is probably Puig. But Dick Williams said this throughout the earlier this week. He said the potential for these guys is there. They just need to put it all together. So basically, he's seeing the same thing that we are. That the offense isn't putting it together, but he sees the potential just like the rest of us fans do. That if the team puts it together, we could be a scary, scary team in the National League. He said in a month or so we will have a better gauge of kind of where we're at and where the team sits. And I mean, kind of right there, I guess he is saying that if the team's out of it in a month, then we're probably going to start selling. But don't sell the entire team. Don't be that guy, and make everybody think that the rebuild's about to have to go do a tear down, and just restart. Like, nobody wants to go through that again, dude. These last few years has been miserable. There's nothing. I want to be a competitive team. I want to be a team that, I want to watch every day. So yeah. Next, we're going to talk about the 1 or 2 run losses. We have the most of those in the major leagues at 24 games that we've lost this year by 2 or fewer runs. Now, what that means is, let me explain to you what that means. When you have lost that many games by that few of runs, let's just say you take 6 of those games, right? And you make those wins. And we are a 36 and 31 team. Yeah, we're a 36 and 31 team. We are, let me see here. 3 games out of the division, 2 games out of a wild card spot. And I mean, it's not like I'm saying we got to win half those games. Literally 1/4 of those games, 1 out of every 4 tries, we win those games, and we're right in the thick of things. I wouldn't even want to say bad luck. It's just that, a team's got to be on all on the same page to win those types of games. And right now, I don't think the Reds are all on the same page. The offense isn't. It's tough. But yeah, I mean, the offense has just got to be all on the same page. And I mean, we're over 500 too. If that happens, there's so much that's just happened like that. And I mean, I just want to. I don't know. It's just, I feel like I just ramble so much because it's just so frustrating what this season has been so far. Everybody knows. I mean, you can tell David Bell's starting to get frustrated. I remember going to a game, it was the first homestand of the year when Milwaukee came and Luis Castillo versus Freddie Peralta. And I remember we got shut out 1-0. And I was sitting there getting all mad because we had gotten swept by the Brewers. And I just remember sitting there thinking, man, dude, if this offense doesn't turn it around soon, we're going to get freaking mauled throughout this year. And I just remember telling myself, man, it may take a month or so, but it's not going to be bad. Once we turn around, it's going to be fine. Well, here we are, 2+ months into the year, almost coming up here on the halfway point in the year as far as games played, and we are still struggling to score runs. But yeah, I mean, we've got to learn how to win those types of games. We're just not going to be a playoff team. Good thing is, though, it shows that we've got grit and that we're in every ball game, which obviously is going to be great. And, I mean, I was looking, we just got to keep on chipping away, But, yeah, I mean, I was looking at our September schedule. We have a really, really easy September schedule. And August isn't too tough, and we're home a ton. I mean, if we can be, within 4 or so games, possibly, at the beginning of August, which, within the next month and a half, we can make up, 4 games, or so. Then, we could make a run at this thing. We can make a run at the playoff spot. But, I mean, for me, this season would be a disappointment if we do not finish 500 plus. or at least close to it. I'd say the minimum amount of wins that I would take would be about, okay, the very, 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 very minimum would be 75.